Legendary lacrosse figure Chris Sanderson was originally diagnosed with a grade 4 malignant brain tumor called glioblastoma multiforme in December 2008.
That was such a blow for all of us to get that news initially. I mean, so startling for such a young man to get that diagnosis.
It was shock and disbelief. Somebody that you kind of idolize your whole life, to be in such a vulnerable position, especially at such a young age.
We tried to do everything we could to take this thing on, and we were given 9 to 12 months to survive this thing.
Chris grew up in a lacrosse household in Orangeville, Ontario, where his love for the game blossomed at a young age.
For me growing up, he was always somebody that I looked up to and idolized. Obviously a great lacrosse player, but somebody that was very smart. Really the first person and first lacrosse player from my hometown to go on and play NCAA lacrosse at the Division I level at the University of Virginia.
I went up to Toronto in September of 1991 actually to watch the under-19 Canadian World Team tryouts. And while I was there, I saw a short left-handed goalie that was playing that looked pretty good. I began to get a little bit curious. I talked to Chris for the first time, and he was excited about the possibility of coming to Virginia. He was a good student, and things just worked themselves out.
He's one of those guys that could have probably played any position, and I think that's what separated him as a goalie. He's very athletic, very skilled.
From '96, I think, through '98, we went to the national championship game, and he did a great job for us.
I couldn't figure out how he ever survived at the University of Virginia, or more properly, how the University of Virginia survived him.
Many layers to Chris. He was, had a very unique, sometimes twisted sense of humor. He would say jokes not really to make anyone else laugh. It was almost more for his own personal enjoyment. He was a person that everyone kind of gravitated to. He had such a great personality. It was that kind of an internal, kind of intangible competitive spirit that Chris had that, I think the reason why he was able to fight it for so long.
There were plenty of, overt examples of Chris's toughness and resiliency. You didn't have to look hard to be able to find those.
What seemed like the countless amount of surgeries and major surgeries that he went through, again, to him it was just kind of on to the next phase, on to the next fight, and I think that's the way he looked at it. It was just, really another step in his road to recovery.
They had taken out 98% of the tumor. Unfortunately, with brain tumors, there are fingers that spread out all over the brain, and that's the problem with this type of tumor, is you can't get it all out.
It's been 16 months since Chris Sanderson's brain operation. His prognosis remains poor, but tests suggest his anti-cancer treatments are working. So he and his wife made the difficult decision to skip chemotherapy to come here.
A lot of people thought we were crazy within my family, but it just meant a lot to do this.
Sanderson's doctors told him by increasing the dosage of his treatments, it's possible to compensate for the missed chemo, but no guarantees.
Creating memories, and it was a big piece of why I wanted to do this and do it at 100%, was I wanted people to know that, I gave. Just everything I could to help care, to help us win.
His participation in the World Games You know, after all this started, to this day, I stand in awe.
You're watching the Federation of International Lacrosse Championship. When a title is on the line, it's a good bet.
It was very inspiring to think of what Chris had sacrificed to be a part of the 2010 World Championships.
This man, Chris Sanderson, a remarkable story, persevering through his battle with cancer.
For him to play at the level he played, and he was fantastic.
Mundor fires, Sanderson with a better save.
We're talking about somebody standing in the goal, for God's sakes, against the best shooters in the world.
Rabel from long range, and Sanderson responds with his right foot.
Risking his life to play in this event. He played an exceptional lacrosse game against Team USA. He's been a huge inspiration.
But he just would not be deterred. Inspirational to the point where it took your breath away.
Sanderson with a good save.
Everybody talks about laying on the line and putting out for the team, but when you actually see a guy do that, it's a big deal, and something that we'll never forget.
After beating the U.S. in the first match of the games behind Chris's 28 save performance, the Canadians would eventually fall to the Americans in the finals. But it did not diminish what Chris was able to do for over a decade for Team Canada. Constant and undeniable force in the net, an undoubted leader to his team. Chris was 3 times named All-World.
Look at Sanderson.
In 2006, led Team Canada to the gold.
Sanderson responds.
Now he's just coming out proving he's the best goalie in the world.
Following the 2010 World Games, subsequent MRIs showed good news, but in November 2011, tests showed signs of a tumor returning. In that March, an MRI showed significant tumor growth. Sanderson's condition worsened, and he underwent numerous surgeries. Legendary lacrosse goalie Chris Sanderson lost his battle with brain cancer on June 28, 2012, at the age of 38.
Beat a lot of odds and outlived. It just kind of spoke to his character and how hard he fought.
The lacrosse world was turned on its ear by what he did after he got sick.
And it was a huge risk to play in 2010. And I think the bigger risk for him, though, was not so much the risk physically to him, but the risk in terms of time that it might take away from his daughters and from Brogann.
We battled with this idea of quality of life versus survival duration. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's a dream of Chris's, and you don't want cancer to take away everything that you love.
He'll be kind of a figure in our game that we can look to for inspiration, and it really kind of exemplifies the power of sport and the power of lacrosse, and he's left a lasting effect on me personally and the game of lacrosse. Took a lot of satisfaction in helping others, and that to me is kind of what defines Chris. The impact that he's had on so many people and how far his reach went.
His concern was first and foremost for his kids and Brogann and his teammates and his friends and his family. It was never about Chris. It was about fighting it for other people.
But I think that's his legacy, the impact that he had on others.